don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome. This is the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and it's been a moment since we've been here. Can you star that message there that if Mayor Dan thinks he's done a good job in Southway? I want to come back to that in just one moment. We will come back to that, Les. That's a great thing, and it kind of goes in line with the first part of what we're going to be talking about. So we've got two topics, and boy. For people who are interested in kind of the underbelly of, the underbelly of the Indiana political scene, the muckety muck of the weirdness on the state level. It's been an interesting couple of days for those people. For the people out there in the world, now there's two types of people in the world. There are the people who are going to know. I'm going to tell you two names here in just a moment. And there are two different types of people for the first person and two different types of people for the second person. There are people out there that know the name Megan Stoner. And when I say that name, they say, oh my God, Megan Stoner, what a freak. And there are people that don't know her. And if you don't know her, well, you're probably better off. Your life's better off. Everything's better off in your life. However, if you like cringe the way I like cringe, everybody, you know that I like cringe if you've been listening for a while, then you might want to get to know her. She's a complete train wreck. Until today, I had her pegged at somewhere between the ages of 6 and 36. I didn't know exactly how old she was. She has exactly 300 teeth in her head. Looks kind of like a shark. Very scary, very scary. Kind of like a mix between a shark and Quasimodo. I'm not going to be nice tonight. So if you're here to listen to like nice Bilbrey, tonight is going to be like I'm not going to be nice tonight. Like this is going to be really, really more kind of outside of my norm. And I think we'll see why as we go along. So for those of you that do know Megan Stoner, you're then obviously aware of what's going on, and I will introduce her to the people that don't know her just briefly here in a minute. She's not going to be on. Don't worry. Like, I would never do that. I will introduce who it is I'm talking about. The other person, fewer people know him. He's a gentleman I actually talked about a couple weeks ago. Gabriel Whitley. He's the gentleman that, he's one of those people that he wanted to be somebody his entire life. He wanted to be somebody that like knew the secrets and was inside the big boys club and was somebody so bad. And unfortunately, as it is in life, some people are, good, bad, ugly. It is what it is. Some people are just born losers. And this guy's been a born loser. And it wasn't like anything he wanted to do to try and fit in, doing anything right to try to fit in or to try to do good and fit in, which he could have easily done. He decided to go the way that so many other people do that are talentless hacks. He decided to grift in the political world. And that's a very common thing. That's a very common thing. When people don't have any other discernible talents, they don't have any form of they can't do anything. They can't even flip the burger at McDonald's. They're like, I think I can go do politics. The thing is, so many of those people, however weird, bizarre, dumb they are, they're at least intelligent enough to learn enough about what it is that they're doing that they can sometimes go far in the political world. Mr. Whitley is not one of those people. He is probably, he would be one of the top runner-ups for the Dunning-Kruger Award, like recipient year after year after year. If you don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, we'll talk about that in a moment, too. So we're going to be talking, we're going to kind of be all over the place. We're going to be talking about all of that, the Megan Stoner and the Gabe Whitley and all of that. That's going to be in a segment that we're going to call Loser Enquirer. Okay, so we're going to talk about that on the second half of the show. The first half of the show, however, we're going to be talking about look at that. Spelling errors. Look at me talking about people being losers. Let me find Muncie. That's what happens when I try to type too fast. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour's Crisis Center not what he said it would be. What? Did you go to the open house today? Did you go to the open house? Did you? I know some of you did. I attended the open house today, and I didn't do it on purpose, but it just was what it was. I got there at 2 minutes until the end of the open house. They took me in anyways. There was another person waiting to be in the tour. I'll talk about that in a moment. And we walked through the tour, and it was lovely. However, I heard some things today that I am absolutely, utterly shocked about, and I have it on recording, so y'all will be able to hear it, and we can discuss it. All right? That's just what it's going to be. If you have not hit the like button in here, please hit the like button, because I've had a rough day. I've been being bullied by some of the biggest rejects in Indiana politics known to man. I've kind of had a like, hey, it's been a rough day all the way around. I've been hearing everybody's been having a rough day. Hello, Bree. I've had no, I've not had a rough day at all. And not one moment. It's been a great day. It's been an amazing day. I thought I heard Someone said that Elizabeth and Rick showed up. I read a little bit of Rick's post earlier. It was great, good little read. Hello, Stephanie May. How you doing? So, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about the Muncie Crisis Center, very important. I'm going to talk about this bizarre deal with this loser Enquirer, this Gabe Whitley. I'm going to no longer call him by his name, Gabe Whitley, from the rest of this event. I'm going to call him Gom Whitless. And I'm not going to refer to her as Megan Stoner. I'm going to refer to her as the Smegan. And so that's what we're going to do. But also, and I hate this because it's like we are really like double programmed, because I'm going to tell all of you right now on X, Twitter, there are 2 Twitter spaces currently going. We're going to dip into those worlds if I can figure this thing out. Quit doing this. All right, we're going to try to get this going, get this up here, and let you guys hear. So there are 2 Twitter spaces currently going on, and they're double programmed as well. One is the loser Enquirer again. Apparently last night they were like, we didn't have enough of spitting in each other's mouths and acting like we were doing something. There were no tough questions asked. She took no accountability for her actions. It was gross. It was absolutely insane. And someone might say, well, why are you giving any platform to this? Why are you giving any oxygen to this fire? And it's the same reason I talked about the other day when I first talked about Gabe. In the political world, there are a lot of shitheads out here. That's just the only way I can say it. A lot of people that are scammers, a lot of people that are grifters, and those are like your elected officials. And then on top of that, there are like volunteers. And so when I'm asking you guys to get involved and to get active, I feel like I have a little bit of an obligation to be like, hey, wait, you've got to watch out, because these people do exist and they will do everything they can to suck you dry, to take all of your money, to take all of your hopes and all of your dreams, and suck all of the passion out of you, and all of the hope, and all of the light, and all of the good. And honestly, it's almost like they're demons or demon possessed. I don't know. I don't have any other way to think about it. It's wild how these people behave and the things that they do. So we're gonna first start out with the Muncie Crisis Center, but beforehand, I do want to give you just kind of a brief insight to what is going on Spaces. So for those of you that don't know, there is a program out there that is ran by an individual called Gabe Whitley. I did a quick show about him the other day. Now listen, Gabe is an interesting character, okay? And when I say interesting, I mean he's not interesting. He's not somebody you should want to know. Generally, I would say do not watch any of his things. It's all trash. He does not know what he's talking about. Like, for example, I'll give you okay, so like, I look at Gabe Whitley, Gom Whitless, as a performance artist. He's got to be a performance artist. Think a dumber Andy Kaufman. Okay, you all know Andy Kaufman, Latka. Jim Carrey did the whole Man in the Moon. You know, he played him. Okay. But Andy Kaufman was a genius. Yeah, that's probably too. Kaufman was a genius. Gom Witless is not. Okay. So his platform, his content is on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook. And he goes he's obsessed with Donald Trump, and so he goes by the handle The Real Honest Gabe. Like Donald Trump picked The Real Donald Trump. Y'all know why he picked that handle? Because someone already got the handle Donald Trump before Trump got it. And Trump tried to get it back from that person, and that person would not get it to him, would not sell it to him. So Donald Trump, if he wanted to be on Twitter, he couldn't just use the Twitter handle Donald Trump. He needed to use The Real Donald Trump. Well, I promise you that no one out there is cobbing on to Gabe Whitley's name. But he just did that because he needed to. He does that. And here's the thing: everybody knows people that have Trump impersonations, and they do it. I cannot do a Trump impersonation for anything. Gabe does it, but he's not trying to be funny. It's like a psychological thing that he has taken on his mannerisms and the way he thinks and the way that he talks and the way that he acts and the way that he moves his hands. It's really weird and it's really creepy. So he created this thing called Hoosier Enquirer. And if we go here and we look at this, okay, it's going to be hard for you guys to see this. But I'm going to try to let me see if I can blow it up. Oh, I can blow it up, he said. All right, so 37 subscribers. March 22nd, 2024, so over a year, 37 subscribers. That's, you understand what we're working with here. Okay. He's got videos that have like this is like his most watched video, not counting last night. 112. I'm probably 20 of those views. 15 views, 36 views, 25 views. 22 views, 3 views. 21 views, 2 views, 10 views, 4 views, 35 views, 53 views, 13 views, 116 views. That's a nice one. 38 views. And then last night, he had a video that was 1.7 thousand, which is not a lot. Just 1,001. It's 1,700. 1,700 views. And they weren't on there because there's great content. They weren't there because it's hard-hitting journalism or hard-hitting commentary. They were there because it's like watching two rats that have been lobotomized smash into each other and doing what it is. Okay? So that's what it is. Now, Megan Stoner is a convicted felon. She has a history of fraud. She is listen, I'm not being mean when I say this. She is a parasite. I fully believe that she is narcissistic. She's very well known in the political realms. She has scammed people out of large amounts of money. And go Google her name. Google Megan Stoner. There are full true crime podcasts devoted to her. Okay. And she is very much like Gabe. Like, they are the yin and yang. Yeah. Kay says, are they dating? I think they need to get married. They need to get married. They need to adopt Natalia Grace Barnett, that little person that was like, you know what I'm talking about? And they need to adopt her and Bobby Kern, and then all of the kind of strange, possibly grifter, who knows if it is, what's going on here, what's not going on here, all that weird stuff in Indiana would all be under one roof. Okay. Gabe has a co-host, and I'll be honest, Gabe's co-host is my favorite part of the entire. I don't know what to say. Gabe will routinely, like, this is why I say it's a performance artist. One of their hour and 35-minute long videos will be a two-person conversation, but yet they aren't recording Gabe's part. So all you hear is his co-host, Johannes from Michigan or something. And so it's like listening to a 2-hour-long phone conversation where you're only listening to one half of the phone conversation. It is the most, it's like, music lovers will know what I'm talking about. It's like picking up Revolver, the Beatles album Revolver, and listening to it with your wife or your girlfriend and giving her the other earbud. You can't do that because the Beatles pan stuff really weird. So like for Taxman, you've got like the drums coming in your right ear and the lead guitars coming through the left ear and the vocals is coming. Like you can't do that because it doesn't work. It's so weird. You can't listen to a 2-hour-long podcast with two people talking and one of them you can't hear for 2 hours. It's insane. But I've sat and listened to the whole thing because it was comedy gold. Okay. The other thing is the two co-hosts don't really like each other, and they're both trying to one up the other. And Johannes is like a bit smarter than Gabe, but like he tries too hard. So like he'll start just in the middle of a podcast talking about politics in Indianapolis. He will break out into singing Russian. He was like start singing Russian, like, and I don't know if it's Russian. Sounds Russian. And he's like, it's Russian. And he always uses these accents and these things. And he always like last night during the Megan Stoner podcast, Gabe did not let him talk at all. But he was the best because he was the first 20 minutes of the video, his head is cut completely off. So you see his body, you see his neck, you see his beard, but you don't see his upper lip, his nose, his eyes. And Gabe's like, Johannes, can you mute yourself? Mute yourself. And I'm like, he's not talking. And he's like, visually mute yourself. Take yourself off the screen. And Johannes is like, I'm trying to get a connection cord. They all the time, like in the middle of the show, it just ends. Nobody knows what goes on. Another show, Gabe coughs, and I'm in like whooping cough. Coughs all the way through the damn 2-hour show, man. Every 15 seconds, he's coughing like a smoker's cough, like someone that doesn't have two lungs. It's just bizarre. He routinely forgets every very important word. Like, for example, if he was going to talk about the mayor of Muncie or city politics in Muncie, he might need to say words like Mayor Dan Ridenauer, City Council, Muncie Redevelopment Commission, edit money, the YMCA, the Ready Grant. But instead of saying those words, he would say, today we're going to talk about city of Muncie politics, and we're going to talk about what's his name? What is his name? Oh, that's right. Mayor Dan Ridenauer. And then he gets onto that, and then he'll say, and he uses that one account. What is that one money account? It's edit. It's like, dude, you can't be like, I stumble over words and I'm, you know how dumb I am. But I'm not pretending to be overly smart. I'm just, I know politics, but I'm not a genius. You know what I mean? Get it? he routinely forgets the subject matter, the specific, most basic words of the subject matter that he's talking about. It's like, whoa, dude, that does not work. So what's comical to me is when he's like, oh, we've got like today about that. He says, we have had people listening from all over, from New York to LA, from Texas. And it's like, dude, no, you haven't. You've only had 1,700 people listening to this. And the reason is because you had a train wreck on, and you guys were a train wreck at first. And look, I'm always a couple minutes late, 3, 4, 5 minutes late. They are always 20 to 30, 45 minutes late. Normally, it's just, it's crazy that way. Okay, yeah, I got Kate. That's the other thing. They have no backup over there. Kate, Gom is doing it all, and he doesn't know what he's doing, okay? So when he first announced that he was going to have Megan Stoner on here, everybody was like, don't do it. See, Megan Stoner reached out to us. Did she message you, Kate? Okay, producer Kate's saying no. I think she messaged the TPS program email, but I think I got it maybe before you got it. She reached out and she wanted to come on our program, and I was like, not today, Satan. I don't have any questions for you because I know what you've done. I don't need to hear you tell your side. You pled guilty. You've done all of these things. You get out. You have not listen, it's not that somebody goes to jail. It's not, oh, dude, listen, I can't tell it to you in this. What you've got to do is you need to go to X, to Twitter, and you need to look up the Megan Chronicles. I think it's under, it's Chronicles Megan. If you go to the @ Chronicles Megan on X, you can find them. And then if you Google, you need to go to the podcast and you need to listen to, I'll tell you the first podcast you need to listen to. Okay. Let's do it like this. Home. History. You need, for anybody that does not know who Megan Stoner is, I would highly suggest, if you live in Indiana, and if you're in politics in Indiana, you need to listen to these podcasts. So the first podcast I would tell you to listen to is called Don't Waste This Effing Podcast. And it is a podcast all about Megan Stoner. Here's what it looks like. And they do a pretty good job with this. Okay. They do a pretty good job of explaining, what this is. I'm gonna tell you what. The trailer is 2 minutes and 52 seconds. We're gonna play the trailer and let you hear it.
An Excelsior Studios original production.
A Hamilton County woman is facing serious charges accused of scamming several people out of rental homes.
April 26, 2023 was a normal day for most in the suburbs of Indianapolis, but it was shaping up to be a very bad day for 25-year-old Megan Stoner, who was notified of a warrant out for her arrest.
9 charges for corrupt business influence, fraud, where the loss is between $750,000 and $50,000.
And she was like 18 when this happened. 19 when the lady's only like 26 now. She's not relevant in the political world. She's a criminal. It's not even about having her own opinion. She's a criminal and people need to know to watch out for her. But and she's out there currently still preying on people, on young newlyweds, old people, She likes to pick on people that has autism, things like that.
And theft.
And unfortunately for Meghan, she would not be navigating her newfound legal troubles in private, because a community of hundreds who had been quietly watching her for years was assembling on the internet to discuss their experiences with her, which ranged from bizarre to dangerous to outright criminal, arguably worse than what Meghan had been charged with.
Basically, what she did was emotionally manipulated and I'll say abused even me for about nearly these 10 years.
And like, she will suck you dry. Any inch you give her, she just takes them out. Like,
Google number after Google number. You block the one, she's not done yet. She's going to get that last word.
The second you let her in, she takes over. And I mean, I would wake up to 20, 30, 40 notifications. I mean, she was scrolling back through things from my high school.
He's a dangerous human being.
And the strangest thing of all is, as her case unfolded, she continued to interact with this online community, which she called her haters, which was made up of business owners she had scammed, politicos from throughout the country that she had solicited for donations, a network of evangelical pastors located outside of the United States, a local brigade of moms who had called out her antics in Facebook groups for years, and even a sex shaman ended up coming together to solve crimes that she had not yet been caught for, and were able to catch her after she ran from the police for a month and finally put her in jail. So, how did this self-described political consultant, mental health advocate, teacher, and sexual assault survivor get into this mess?
And all of those things that she claimed that she was, I don't know about the trauma. I will not speak on her trauma. I don't know if she's a survivor of sexual assault or not. I don't know if she is any of that. I don't know if she is a survivor, so I will not comment on that. However, I will tell you, she was not a teacher. She is not a teacher. She was not a political consultant. She is not a political consultant. She's not a shaman. She's a troll.
Mess in the first place.
An old-fashioned thief, yes.
How much of her story that she had told of herself on social media for years was actually true? That's what we'll explore here every Thursday on Don't.
And so listen, I'm okay with people who make mistakes and then own up to the mistakes and get a second chance. We've all been there. You know, I'm not casting stones. The problem is, she goes on a show last night and she gaslights every one of her victims. She makes them feel as if they're in the wrong. And she was still last night explaining why she shouldn't be looked down upon, why these people have all done this to her. And Gabe, who's going out, and this is the bad part, Gabe, who's going out and masquerading as a journalist. See, I'm not a journalist. I don't ever claim to be a journalist. I'm not trying to claim to be a journalist. Gabe says he's a journalist. I'm a political commentator. That's what I've done. That's what people know me as. Gabe claims he's a journalist. I don't know. You know why I'm not a journalist? Because I don't know how to be a journalist. I didn't go to journalism school. I don't know anything about that. I don't know what Gabe has. Gabe also, like Meghan, is somewhere between like 13 and I know he's not 30 yet. So he's under 30. So 26, 27, 28, somewhere around in there. He's got this other program called the Hoosier Enquirer. And people said, like, he said, I'm going to open the calls so people can call in and ask questions. He lied about that. He turned off the comments. Like, you guys can comment. He turned off the comments. He didn't allow that. He turned off all the comments on his Twitter, on his Facebook. He cannot do that. Then, please and understand this. And this is why I'm going so crazy about this. After this, and after I and others were rightfully calling him out, I saw that he made a post about Joe Biden. Okay. Now, I'm not a big Joe Biden fan. I don't like Joe Biden. Not a fan of Joe Biden. I have lots of reasons why I can tell you that I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. That said, I don't wish that Joe Biden had cancer. I hate that he's got cancer. I have seen cancer up close and personal multiple times, and it's not something that I joke about. It's not something that I wish on my enemies or people that I don't like or people that don't like me. That's just not something that people should roll. That's just bad. I just don't, I don't think that people should joke like that. And so Gabe had made a post that said, Joe Biden deserves cancer for having his FBI goons raid my house over a piece of paper. Rotten hell, Joe Biden. And I didn't like that comment. And I've talked with Gom in the past, and we've had words before. And I just simply told him that I dislike, that I didn't like what he did there. And, people that think like that, like comments like that make me feel like, people like that deserve to be punched in the mouth. That's a common thing I say. I'm not running around punching people in the mouth, whatever. This turd lives in Indianapolis. I'm in Muncie. It's not like he's in fear of me getting in my car and driving down. There's no anger. I'm not angry here when I say this. So this turd then, my grandparents are here, so I'm not going to get heavily involved in it. But this kid then obviously, and here's the thing. I think that he thinks you guys know that I'm weird about death. Like I grieve loss and things like that the same way people do, but I'm a religious person, and I think I don't grieve the way that other people do. I look and I enjoy the memories that I've had, and I am satisfied in knowing that those people are where I think they need to be, and in my belief, I will see them again. So I'm not like overly like boo-hoo. Of course, during a death of a family member, you're sad around that time, but then in pretty quick order, I'm like, okay, I'm okay, and things are back to normal, and you live life. That's just the circle of life. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So, like, death is something that I can normally joke about, and I do. I'm a dark person. So when someone says something to me or whatever, it's things like that don't really trigger me. So this guy thought he was going to trigger me by saying things about like, my dad. And I'm like, that's first of all, dude, you got to get a lot weirder than that to, anyways. So this guy's just a complete all the way around asshole. He's just a turd, and it is what it is. The thing here is any day, tomorrow, the next day, a week from now, a month from now, this guy is going to get a call on a cell phone from the federal government, not the cool federal government, but from the federal prison sentence, federal prison. And they're going to tell him to drive to the federal intake, and he is going to turn himself in and start serving a federal prison sentence for falsifying campaign finance. So the thing about this kid is he is so insignificant that he got himself in trouble making up people that he said would donate to him just because he wanted to be that important. He literally made up names of people and claimed that they gave him money, and because of that, he is going to prison. Wild! Totally insane. Gabe Whitley. So the biggest issue I have with this kid now is he's literally like telling people that he's out here asking all of these people to like trust him while he's doing this hard-hitting journalism. And I want to give you an example of what they're doing on their program tonight. So give me 1 second here, and I'm going to pull this up and let you hear this. Because after last night, it was supposed to be done. But then as soon as he found out that another group was going to set the record straight, he wanted to jump on. So this is what's going on his side of the world, where there are currently 9 people listening. Wait a minute. Okay, I can't join a space. I'm in a space. I need to leave this space. And now I can join into this space. Here we go. You guys hear anything? I don't hear anything. So they must not be... They must not be there. Okay, well, we'll go to the other one. We'll go to the other one, why that one's doing whatever it's doing.
Lost the person I rooted for and looked up to. And most of all, I lost my ability to trust. Whenever a friend asks me for help now, or someone at my job, I have to think twice because I don't know if they truly need my help or if I'm merely a pawn for personal gain. As much as I enjoyed our memories together, Megan, I can't believe that any of that joy you elicited was genuine. So, Megan, as you stand here on the precipice of a life-changing decision, although I respectfully recommend the maximum penalty for the wrongs that have been committed, I will try to offer you forgiveness and hope you find the help that you need so you can pursue a more positive contribution to our society. And ultimately, that was written in December 2 years ago.
That sounded nice.
Before she was sentenced. Obviously, a lot has happened since then. This was before the podcast. This was before something was wrong, before all of the drama ensued. And Gabe, if you are out there, if you are who you say you are, I really hope that you will take what I have said into account here tonight, and that you'll take into account what a lot of us have said here tonight. We're not here to bully. We're here to hold someone accountable for wrongs that were committed. Wrongs that were committed that hurt people mentally and emotionally. I was one of those people. And so anyway, I'll just leave you with that.
Abe, before anyone else speaks, I love you very much, and I'm so proud of you for that, and thank you so much, because I think every single person on here needed to hear that, and I speak for every single one of us, I think, when I say that we genuinely love you, and that this world is probably not good enough for you. You are an amazing human.
And I just want to underline what Alyssa said, and also just think about the compassion that Abe just spoke with and everything she put him through, and then contrast that with the way she spoke about him last night. Like, oh, it's not a big deal.
Correct.
I want to move on. I want to not care. And honestly, I would not have done this space and joined it with anything if it were not for how flippantly she spoke about Abe last night.
I want you to listen. All right, so I'm going to take you over here and let you listen to this here for a second.
Yeah, my camera keeps like glitching, so we're just...
They're live. This is them live.
Do it this way, I suppose. I am not in the hospital despite what everyone else is saying right now.
Yeah, I know. Twitter's going insane right now.
I'm getting a bunch of messages myself. I'm like looking at my phone like I can't keep up.
We should have actually done a what's that thing called? I believe it's called DraftKings. Okay, we should have put like bets on here to see if you were gonna back out from what Twitter has said.
No, I've been preparing all day and all week, and I've got several of my folks watching, and they're texting as I'm speaking.
I would have won the bet off of DraftKings of you coming on, so I'm just letting everybody know that. So
yeah, I wasn't backing out.
Yeah, so actually, everyone, okay, so I have been talking to Meg for about a week or so, give or take, about coming on the show.
Yes, Kate.
I know you came and spoke at the back in 2020 during the governor's COVID mandates. I know you came and spoke at that. So it's been about 5 years since I've actually known you, and I know you served on the Indiana State Legislature. So if you want to just give us a brief synopsis,
I know you served
your political
on a
history,
legislature.
your political background, and that type of stuff.
Which one,
Let's get the
JD?
ball rolling.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Gabe. I really want to thank you guys for standing in this with me this week. I know it's not been easy. I know there's been a lot that has happened and a lot of calls that have been made. But I want to say that I actually never served in the legislature.
She literally scares me.
Worked with several close legislators.
Watching
When I
this
was
woman
17, I wrote a
scares the hell out of me.
And since then, I worked on multiple campaigns. I then ran for political office at age 19 in my home county of Madison. I ran for Madison County Council. In the primary, I did lose.
Randall, that is what so many, see you, GW. That is what so many people, you got here a little late and look up Megan Stoner, or maybe you don't care. I don't know. Look her up. I promise you it's something you'll like, but you gotta get it from the beginning. Here's the deal. The thing that I'm having the issue with is they are what they're trying to push on the people that are listening to this. And what she's done is, in some bizarre way, she has, like a con man, a con artist, has finagled her way into all of these places, even though people have blackballed her through, and I'm talking about through various churches, various political affiliations, various mental health and survivor communities. And what she does is she jumps in and she leeches on them, and she's currently still doing it. So what this is where Gabe won't call her out and say, listen, you're not coming clean, you're not owning up to anything that you're doing, you're still pushing this off on your victims. She needs to be told while she's live in front of an audience, however big or small it is live, people can always watch the video in replay and repeat, and that's where we get a lot of views. All right, I understand Gabe might not, but that's where people on YouTube get a lot of views in the days and weeks afterwards. The people that need to be watching this need to see her called out live. Listen, you're still lying. You're gaslighting people. And you need to come clean about it. And you will not ever fully be saying you're sorry. You will not ever be trying to redeem yourself. You will not ever be asking for forgiveness unless and until you do. And it's like somebody going to jail for OWI, and then they get out and they go back to jail for OWI, and then they get out and or drugs or beating your wife or beating your girlfriend or beating your husband or whatever. Every time you get out and you say, I'm not going to do it again, and then you do it again, the whole time you keep doing it, you're not making things better. So the first thing she's got to do is stop. And she's still not stopping. She has to start stopping at some point. This has been going on since 2015. We are now 10 years in to her life of crimes here in the state of Indiana, and it's prolific. It's really prolific. There was one gentleman that I was listening to speaking before we went live, specifically her, at the age of like 17 or 18, 19, conned him out of $40,000. So no, she's over playing footsie with Gabe and doing whatever they're doing. It's important. Listen to me. Here's the thing. When someone commits a crime against people in the community, and what's bizarre to me is how many people still don't know this name, specifically people in the political communities, because she's very well known as being this kind of person, but it's very cult-like. People have an obligation to get that word out. And then when you think about a sin is ultimately the worst thing that you can do to yourself. I heard this in that podcast today. She said that, putting this out there, maybe one of these days, it might not be mine, it might be somebody else's. Megan will hear people talking and think, I need to stop this. And maybe ultimately at some point she'll stop. But when she's out here and when Gabe and other people give her the platform to not call her out, see, there's a difference. Speaking about her and calling her out is one thing. Giving her the platform to gaslight and to lie is quite another thing. And that's what they did. Oh, Kiff, that's crazy. Are you serious? You've never heard of her too? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, Catherine, that's the thing, because she started out in Madison County, and I think she ran for county council over there. So I'm just letting people know, like, look, she's out of jail. She's not stopping doing her thing. So, and she oftentimes shows up in Facebook groups. She shows up in like those, like Delaware County Uncensored, Madison County Chatter, Pendleton Chatter pages. And she goes by various names. She goes by Megan Stoner. She goes by The Meg. She goes by Elizabeth Megan, Megan Elizabeth, Elizabeth Stoner. So you just have to be very, very careful when you're out here dealing with these people. That's the number one thing. I don't have a screenshot of her aliases, but I tell you what I will do. I will get a list of the aliases that I just read off and some of the others, and I will put them in a description on YouTube in this video tonight or tomorrow. And I will also post them on X, and I will also post them on Facebook and my social medias. So there are, I'm telling you, Kiff, listen, she has, yeah, right, Jack. She's spent time in prison for this. What her shtick was for a long time was she would go rent a house. She wouldn't pay. She would live there. She'd live there, wouldn't pay. And then she'd go through the eviction process. She'd get evicted. But before she would leave, she would keep keys, go make a copy of the keys, finally give the keys back to the landlord. And then while the landlord had the property on the market, trying to rent it, trying to sell it, whatever, Megan would then put pictures of it up and say it was her property. She would then have elderly people and young people, mostly those were her targets, young people, which was wild because she was 17, 18, 19 at the time. So I'm just saying, if someone is 17, 18, 19, and they've got this level of thought in their brain, man, she is a career criminal. And what she would do is she would take some young couple, some single mother with a couple of kids, and say, hey, do you like this house? She would walk them around a home that wasn't hers. And she would say, well, I've got someone else that wants to rent it. But I tell you what, I like you. And if you give me money, you can give me cash right now. It's yours. You give me cash for the deposit, first and last, and security deposit. And she'd oftentimes, take off with $2,000. We'll come back here tomorrow morning. I'll give you the keys. And then what she would do is she would block the person on all social media accounts. And she's skedaddled with $2,000 or $2,500 or $3,000 or however much it would be in today's world. And she accused various preachers of sexual misconduct, did all kinds of weird stuff with different people, men, women, very, very crazy things. And what's scary about this is she also snaked around in the political circuits. She literally had people convinced that she was a senior staff writer for Mike Pence at the age of 19. She told people that she had pushed through legislation in Indiana and had brought the voting age down. And literally grown-ass adults bought this. Absolutely, Kiff. 100%. If ever. That is 1,000%. So I'm just letting you people know. The people who's like, I don't understand what this is. This is just a warning. Listen, people don't go to the basement when they hear a tornado warning. So there are people out there that might not like this, but it is. And I'm telling you, everybody out there, anybody that does not believe me, Gabe Whitley, Gom Witless is no different. Gabe is the absolute 110% walking male version of Megan Stoner. They are two peas in a pod. So follow it, do what you want to do, but I'm telling you, you're playing with dangerous things here. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. She's smarter than him because he wasn't able to. His was all fake money. So maybe that's what they've that's what they have got into. Your guess is as good as mine, Randall. I don't know what their connection is other than being two political grifters. And I think it's like. It's love that's brought them together. I don't know. Crazy stuff. All right. Now, on from there, we are going to the Crisis Center. Muncie Crisis Center. Crazy deal today. So the Muncie Crisis Center, that first... Man, when did Ridenauer first started talking? Yeah. I was going to say, yes, political spotlight, you're right. Yes, Kate, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Something's up there. When did Ridenauer first start talking about this? 2022? Right before the election in 2023. He said that they had been working on it since 2021, and that's when Dustin and Belinda bought it and all that stuff, and there's some stuff happening. So the old Workman's Bar, they tore it down and they built up a new facility at 809 West 8th Street in Muncie, Indiana. The Muncie Crisis Center, I have been calling it Dan Ridenauer's Crisis Center ever since I tapped it being a political stunt that he just wanted to get in the paper and get a picture in front of, and then it didn't matter what happened. And I'm telling you, what you're going to hear tonight is 100% proof of everything that I'm saying. So we've got this situation. Before I get there, I got to send this so you guys can hear this. Allow. Okay. What do I got to do? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this in my drive. That's exactly what I'm going to do. TPS program. We'll do it just like that. All right. While we're waiting on that, okay? While we're waiting on that, I want to go up here and I want to hit this comment. Les Cloud said, if Mayor Dan thinks he's done a good job on Southway, he should get his picture in front of it. You know, every day, there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear the people of Muncie mention two things. There are two things. The people of Muncie is like, and people say little Chicago. I say it's little England. Because people in England are just known for being kind of blah, bitchy. They just are known for their, pissy moods. And they like to bitch about things and not ever be happy about anything. Muncie is so much like that. There's a lot of good things here. I love Muncie, but one of the things I love about Muncie is our ability to gripe about anything. But out of all of the things that people gripe about, there are two things that I hear all people gripe about, and I hear about these every single day of my life. I hear about them every single day of my life. One, we all know what it is. The roads. And two, since Ridenhour's been in office, it's been the Southway Plaza. And what's going on with it? What are we doing? What's Dan doing about it? And here's the thing. You're right. And I remember when Marsh went out. I remember that was a horrible deal. I remember when Kmart was down the other one. I remember when Evie's was still there. I'd go shopping at Evie's with my grandparents. I long for that Muncie, and that's just a nostalgia thing. But here's the thing. Ridenhour sold us on he was going to make this better. And then he completely, shot the wad, and it was a screwed up deal. It's been a screwed up deal. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to hear about it. He tells his people not to talk about it. His people get downright nasty if you bring it up. If other people bring it up, they get nasty. And I got to tell you, while on a different level, a different plane, what's going on at the crisis center, I'm telling you, is really no different than the Southway. It's really no different than the apartments at 12th Street over by Till Pond. That he was going to sell to somebody that didn't have apartments to sell. It's like, that's the famous thing. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. Those people come and see Dan, and he actually buys them. I wonder how many bridges in New York Dan's bought from people. How many igloos he's bought from people at the South Pole. I agree. Dan Ridenhour needs to get something going with the roads, and I don't mean in inches and we've fixed the road here on this turn around. There's 2 people live down here. We need to start fixing South Madison. We need to start fixing South Walnut. We need to fix the Southway Plaza. I want to see Ridenhour's picture in front of Southway. I want him to come down and take a picture like he did today. Taking a picture in front of the crisis center. I want to see him taking a picture in front of the crisis center. He should be proud. Look what he's got us. Look what he did for us. Look, it looks worse today than it did before he came in office. I want to thank Rick Inser for this picture. Rick Inser, thank you for this picture, Mr. Rick Inser. This is a picture by Rick. And look at him, man. He's really having a good time. Really having a good time. Man, his hair's... Shoo, look at him. His hair's all Dapper Dan back. He's out there. He's got a suntan on. These people are having fun. Woo! We are going to help people in crisis straight away. Straight away. Interesting. Just really, 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 really interesting. So, Mr. Yinser posted those pictures, and he wrote an article that went along with it. And I want to read this to you. Yeah, Tillotson's a joke. I know, man. It's nuts. So, okay. Crisis Center has been in the works since late 2022. It opened in February. They were still doing work inside the building into late March, maybe early April. Started seeing cars in the driveway in March, April, definitely into May. 3, 4, 5 cars at a time. Never saw cars there after 4 or 5 p.m. ever. Okay. Back on April 28th of this year, the Meridian Services, who are in the building now, it was originally supposed to be IU Health, Ball Memorial Hospital counselors and whatnot, but they crapped out on Dan because they said Dan and co didn't know what they were doing, and the plans kept changing, and everything was dragging their feet, and they didn't want to be part of it. So they hit out in February of last year. They wrote a note and said, we're out. That left Dan scrambling. You know, we found out about all this. It was a shit show. Okay, whatever. Anywho. So Meridian Services were there, and they had a City Hall open house only on April 28th of this year. That was Monday, April 28th. They held an open house for the mayor's administration, city employees, police officers, city council, judges, elected officials, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And they went there and they did their little thing. And then they announced a couple days after that they were going to be doing a community-wide open house today, Monday the 19th. So the open house was to start at 11 and run until 1 p.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The ribbon cutting was going to be at 11:30, and then people could just mill about, and they would give you tours and run, the whole spiel. So Rick got there before I got there. He got there when it first started. They were there for the ribbon cutting and all that. I want to read you Rick's article. Meridian Services opened the doors to the long-awaited Muncie Crisis Center to help those troubled with their mind and body. Treatment for those addicted, homeless, or lost has been the forefront of government and healthcare leaders amid the ongoing opioid crisis. Mayor Dan Ridenour said it was well worth the wait as the center at 8th and Hoyt that opened last winter invited the public Monday to have a look. About 75 people showed up, including the police chief, sheriff, judges, and others that work in the neighborhoods and healthcare to fight substance abuse. Substance abuse. Keep that in mind. Like Police Chief Nate Sloan said, there's always been a crisis with some, and the law's only choice was taking people to the hospital or jail. Besides referrals by police, the center will also get people from the Muncie Mission and its outreach, the Hub, the Muncie YWCA, Meridian, also working with IU Health to get referrals from its emergency room. The center provides medical evaluation, referrals, besides a shower and laundry for those needing help. It is staffed with a nurse practitioner and other clinical staff. While Meridian has physicians and psychiatrists available, the provider also does alcohol and drug evaluations for the court system that offers thousands of patients. Sarfraz Khan, psychiatrist for Meridian and professor at IU Health, said 1 in 3 Americans struggle with mental illness and the center would help improve lives. The common market across the street sees people in need every day, said owner Mike Martin. And Neil Kring, who also works in the Avondale neighborhood, added overdose deaths continue in the community. More than $2 million. Listen to this. More than $2 million in public money built the center, and recent opioid settlement money could be a source to sustain and add services. For now, the center is open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a handful of staff. Extended hours and walk-in patients are future considerations. Meridian is among the largest healthcare providers in the state. Now, here is where my problem comes into play. Okay? When Mayor Ridenour first announced this, and the police first announced this, and everybody first announced this, and we were going to pay a bunch of money to this, and there's going to be about a bunch of money for this, and a bunch of money for that, and it was eventually going to get up to $2+ million ongoing, because apparently we still pay all the utilities and everything that goes on with the building. We were told this was going to be a 23-hour-a-day facility, meaning you could not go and spend the night here, but this was essentially open 24 hours a day. You couldn't stay, but they would be there for when people in need were in need. And people aren't always just in need from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can be in crisis from 8 to 5. I've seen people as a police officer. I've seen people in crisis at 7 o'clock in the morning. I've seen them in crisis at 9 o'clock in the morning. I've seen them in crisis at 2 o'clock on a Sunday. All the time. But there's a lot of people that are in crisis from 5:01 p.m. until 7:59 a.m. All right. So I get to the open house today at 12:58. 12:58. And I went there purposefully late. I guess I didn't intend to, but then when I was going, I was like, yeah, this makes sense, because I didn't want to see everybody else. I didn't want to hear everybody else. I didn't want to hear the bullcrap speeches. I went there for one specific reason. I had two questions, really. That was all. The two questions that I had were, how many people have you guys treated since you started treating people? Has that happened yet? Or is it going to happen? If it's already happened, how many? And are we open 24 hours a day? If so, how long have we been? If not, when will we be? That's all I wanted. So I get there, and first and foremost, nobody's there. Like, we're knocking on the door. I'm there, and there is a woman in there with me, and I thought the woman worked there. I thought she worked there, and we stood around for a few minutes. She pressed the button a couple times. She looked like a nurse or a counselor or something, just kind of had that look about her. And so I'm thinking, yeah, all right. I don't know. So we're finally standing there, and it's like well after 1 o'clock now. It's like 5, 6, 8 minutes after 1. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm late. And she's like, me too. And I was like, oh. I was like, do you not work here? And she's like, no. She was like, I'm a counselor from Terre Haute. She was like, I just wanted to come up and see this. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So she's just coming up to see what's happening. All right. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. So, she's like, well, where do you think they are? And I was like, well, it ended at 1. Maybe they thought we were. She was like, yeah. She's like, but we got here just in time. She pressed the buzzer again, and we stood out and waited. And then finally, someone came, and they opened the door, and they're like, are you here for the open house? And I, we're like, yes. Sorry, we're late. And she's like, no, come on in. The very first thing she said to me, because I didn't see Rick posted that after I was there, after he was there, after I was there. The very first thing she says is, well, we're here till 5, so come on in. We can take you around. And I was like, what do you mean you're here till 5? I'm thinking this in my mind. What do you mean you're here till 5? Only till 5? What do you mean? You have replacements come in? What's going to happen? So she takes us around this tour. And so you walk in the door, and the first thing you walk into is a little like receptionist area. It's got like 3 or 4 chairs. And then there's a room that's like blacked out over here. And then there's like a consult room here. And you go in there and you see like the nurse, and they ask you if you're on drugs or anything. And then from there, you go to a medical consult, and they take your blood pressure and your pulse, and they maybe take a urine test or a blood test. I don't know. I don't know what they do. She didn't really go through all of that. She just said, like, this is where we do the medical stuff. Then they took us into their day room. And the day room looked cool. There was a TV in there, and there were some sitting places, and just nothing really. It was just a couple places to sit. The chairs didn't look really comfortable. Didn't look like there was any like recliners. Let me tell you, the point of what they had going on in there, you're not going to be there long. They had these circular tables that had the old plastic round seats, like lunchroom style, and they fold up in the middle. And so that's like what I guess if you're going to eat there. I mean, not comfortable for anybody's ass to sit on unless you're 8 years old. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not knocking on them. The building looked good inside out. The people looked good. They were nice. They were friendly. They answered questions. Everything was like it should be. And then we walk into the back, and there's They walk us through these two places where they say these are offices for the cops when they come in, and then they walk us into a laundry and a dryer room. I was kind of shocked because they only had like one like home washer and dryer, not like an industrial washer and dryer like I thought you would think you would see in some place like that. They just had like something I would have at my house, just like, you know, here, go to Maytag's Best, you know, something like that. All right. So we go in, and the nurse, the lady, the other person from Terre Haute starts asking all these questions, doing all this stuff. I don't know. She was trying to get a job. I don't know exactly what she was doing. I don't know what exactly she was doing. She was trying to get a job or something. So, anywho, I start asking questions. So I'm going to let you hear this. Okay. Here we go.
The bell, it's locked, so I don't know.
Here I'm out in the hallway with the other lady. Yeah, I know it's almost over. I just have a question for them.
Oh, okay.
About it.
Maybe then come on.
You're fine. Yeah. I don't know if we were going back out there on you. Okay. Here we are. Here we go on our tour.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hello. How's it going? Doing all right? I ran into somebody I knew in there. I ran into Susan Dillon. Susan Dillon was on her way out as I was on my way in. Sure.
Yeah.
I know it's real close to the end. I'm not trying to.
You're absolutely fine. So obviously this is what people will enter.
Right.
And then we kind of start with just a registration process. We don't need a whole lot of information, but just like name, date of birth, and address.
Sure.
That way we can tell if they're already patients somewhere or if we need to kind of do everything.
Right, Stumblefoot.
Once we get that information, then we move them into our therapy room.
Okay. You don't have to, but like if you
I brought a house
I'm
phone.
gonna bring you one.
She makes me look so it's loud. Because there were a lot of people in there. I'm going to skip forward. Nothing of real importance. I've told you everything that happens. I'm going to get to the point where I'm asking the questions because they're just walking us through. Like, this is where we sit and take questions. This is where they do the blood draw. None of that stuff matters. I'm going to get to the point where we're in back.
This space, but
And so the facility is only you're only here 23 hours total.
We are 8 to 5 right now.
Okay. When will that change?
I don't know.
We're here 8 to 5, and I said, when will that change? All right, I'm going to back it up a little bit before that. We'll start at 7:32. Here we go.
They have a couple offices here as well.
Oh, okay.
Predominantly, they're social workers.
Yeah.
Use those. We do have an officer every once in a while. They also use this space if they're like on shift and they get something gross on their uniforms. They might come and wash them, take a quick shower before they go back off.
No.
But then we also have these facilities available and ready for anybody who would come to the crisis center as well. So if part of the issue is, I just am not feeling good about myself, or I don't want to go to that doctor's appointment because my clothes are gross, or whatever it is, we're gonna come alongside and try and get them connected to whatever that could be helpful. And then the back of the building is just like staff and an office space, but
And so the facility is only you're only here 23 hours total.
We are 8 to 5 right now.
Okay. When will that change?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
The hope is to expand those hours eventually. I think we'll probably do 8 to 8 before we go like 8 to whatever. So, and then we're not.
So it's kind of hard to hear what she said. I said, so when will that change? And she says, I don't. This is what she said. She said, I don't know. And that's what she did with her face. She said, I said, so when will that change? And she went, I don't know. Like it was some kind of like big secret thing. And I'm like, what? Why is this not open 24 hours a day? Like, I get that people might not be there 24 hours. I get that people might not spend the night here, but why aren't you people here? What happens if I have a crisis at 4 a.m.? She said, we are only here 8 to 5. And I said, when will that change? She's like, I don't know. She said, we're hoping, we might expand to 8 to 8, but there's other things that's got to happen. So, and then there's another point where it cuts out right as we're walking through, where there's another person that's in the other room asking similar question. And they say, we're just an 8-5 service. And here's the kicker. Yep. Chief Muncie, that's exactly right. Absolutely correct. Mental health crisis occurs at all hours of the day and night. All hours of the day and night. Now, let me tell you this. I'm hearing rumors that the police are not happy about this place because they're refusing to take people that the police bring in. So the police can only bring people in between 8 and 5. But then on top of that, they're refusing to bring people in. And let me tell you what I'm hearing from my sources in the field. I know a lot of police officers. I'm friendly with the law enforcement. Let me tell you what I've heard. I've heard that the crisis center does not want to take people in who are currently under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. What? Everybody's talking about substance abuse. But the crisis center isn't going to take someone if they're currently under the influence of alcohol or narcotics? What? All right. I've heard that they don't want to take people if the people have stated they want to harm themselves, commit Harry Carey 812. Okay. What do you mean? So we got a crisis center that's not willing to take people in crisis under the influence, under the mental fog of wanting to. Okay. And they don't want to take people. What was the third thing? They don't want to take people. Something about being seen at the hospital. If they could be seen at the hospital instead. Jack. I got a little Malachite story for tomorrow or the next day.
I think you got a little confused. You said they don't want to take people who are under the influence. You don't want to take people that are hurt. And there was a third one. They don't want to take people. That's where you needed to stop. They
Yeah,
don't,
they don't
want
wanna
to take people.
Yeah.
Period. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, Chief Muncie. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's very crazy. It's very, very crazy. I asked them if they had a pamphlet, if they had any literature about what they do. And no, they did not have a pamphlet. They don't know what they're allowed to put in the pamphlet. I was told, more or less. They don't know what they can put in, and they don't want to hamstring themselves by putting something in and not being able to do something else or whatever. I'm like, what? Okay. Now for the biggie. The biggie. Yes, Stumblefoot, that's exactly right. I got a thought about that. How much? How often? When? No, let me see how I want to phrase this. First, when Chief Muncie and Tweety Bird, those are great questions, about close to the same. I'll come back and I'll hit that here in a second. Jackie, that's another good question, and I'll hit that here in a second. I want to ask you, okay, today's May 19th. This place has been open since the end of February. Question number 1. Has this place started seeing patients, yes or no? Yeah, right, Keith. Absolutely. 110%. Have they started seeing patients, yes or no? That was one of my big questions. So I'm asking y'all, have they started seeing patients? What do you think their answer was? Yes, we've started seeing them. No, we haven't. Come on, there's got to be more than Alva say something. I mean, I'll make it easy for you. Type 1 for no and 2 for yes or something. Yes, but just regularly scheduled clients. That's tricky. That's tricky. The common market, the crisis center, and the green light on blocks from each other, Kid Rock. All right. You guys don't all want to play. Apparently just Alva and Eric want to play. So I asked them if they have been seeing clients. The answer is yes, they've been seeing clients. I was surprised. I was really shocked. They have started seeing clients. Here's what's big. From the beginning of when they started opening, sometime in the middle or end of February, through now, how many patients have walked into the crisis center? How many people? Yeah, that's not good, Bree. How many people? Stumblefoot says 2. Chief Muncie says 0. The realist. Yeah, the realist. Ejac says 10. The realist says 3. Let's see. 19. 30. Okay, so 61, 80. Let's call it 90 days. All right. Can they walk in on their own? Tweety Bird, that's a great question. We'll get right there here in a second. So we've got 5, 8, 3, 10, 0, 2. Well, the right answer is, Tweety Bird says 1. The right answer is up on the board. Someone has guessed the right answer. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is in just about 90 days, they've seen 10 people, which I got to thinking about while I was out in the parking lot. That's really quite impressive, given the fact that they don't want to take people under the influence of drugs or alcohol. They don't want to take people who are threatening to off themselves. They don't want to take people who like could otherwise be seen by the hospital or something. So that's and they can only come in the door between 8 and 5. So the fact that they have seen 10 people is rather impressive, actually. And no, it's not. I'm really joking. Like that's nuts, honestly, because it sounds as if they're turning away a lot of people from what I'm hearing by the police. I'm hearing they're turning away a lot of people by the police. So I also ask her, how can people come in? You know, the police turn them in. Can they come in? You know, if I am in crisis, can I just walk in the door tomorrow? And she said no. She said the only way they can come in is, basically, Chief Muncie. Yeah. Just about. Yes. Yep. The only way that... so the thing is, seeing between 8 and 5 under a whole bunch of circumstances. They can take them if the police bring them in. They can take them if the mission brings someone in. They can take them if the hub brings someone in. They can take them if the Y brings somebody in. Or I guess they can take them if IU brings somebody in. Chief Muncie. Probably had better success, too. Truth be told. Oh, let me tell you. Chances are, if you're going in at 4:45, they're not going to see you. That's a good question. That's a good question, Muncie. Why would IU bring them? I don't know why IU would bring them there. Maybe it means IU police. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. Yeah, Tweety Bird, that's what they said. The why. Hey, I'd hate to think that I'm swimming laps at the pool, bitching about the parking lot and the trees they cut down, and all of a sudden I'm getting carted into the crisis center. How's that? Didn't Dan and or Amber say that the police would be able to bring people there? Well, it's Dan's puppy, so he takes the blame. She just regurgitates what he says. They both said it. Yeah, they both said it. And the police thought they would be able to bring people there. From what I'm hearing, the police are upset with the arrangements. I'm hearing that the police are upset. Didn't Dan say that people could go there if they were in crisis? Well, yeah, he did say that, but they can't just go there on their own. They can't just go there with, your or my help or, somebody else's help. They have to go there because the police took them or the mission took them or, something like that. This is a colossal waste of taxpayer money. This is over budget, behind schedule, and not what the city promised. Oh, yeah. And you know, here's the thing that pisses me off the most. The thing that pisses me off the most. I'm going to get shit on for what I've said here tonight. I already posted in a couple different groups today, posting about this very thing. Posting in What's Up Muncie. Saying let's see here. See where it's at. I think that's it. Here we go. I posted earlier today, just leaving the open house at Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenhour's Crisis Center. Quotation marks, because it's his crisis center, not the city of Muncie's. This was his baby. Located where the old Workman's Bar used to be at 809 West 8th Street, Muncie, Indiana. An open house was held for City of Muncie employees, the mayor's administration, and city councils back on Monday, April 28th, 2025. And today, Monday, May 19th, 2025, an open house was held for the community. The event was scheduled from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a ribbon cutting ceremony at 11:30 a.m. I made it there right at the end, but the staff were friendly and professional, and they gave myself and another person a tour and rundown of the program. I did not know the other person in my tour, but she was not from Muncie. She was a counselor from another center similar to the Crisis Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. The building is nice, both outside and inside. The employees gave a tour was pleasant, as were all the other employees there. However, I was shocked by what I was told by my tour guide, as well as other employees at the Crisis Center and other folks who attended both today's events and the one from April 28th. I'll be discussing this, among other things, tonight. You will not want to miss it. Be sure to tune in, blah, blah, blah. So one tool bag says, just report the news. I don't want to watch something later. I'm like, I'm not a reporter, dumbass. Don't watch it later. You don't got to watch it later. I'll post it tomorrow after I talk about it tonight, but I'm not going to post it before I talk about it. So either you can catch it tomorrow, or you can watch tonight, or you can just not give a shit. If it sounds like you don't give a shit. Insane. So here's my thing. I'm going to get shit for posting this. And that's ridiculous, because I want it to help people. I don't want the city of Muncie to pay $2 million on something that's not going to help. And here's the thing. Everybody that went to this are going to speak up and say nice, lovey-dovey things. I don't know what the police chief said. I'd like to hear what the police chief said, because I think it's disingenuous if he said anything other than, wait a minute, my guys and gals can't bring people here. 8 to 5 isn't good enough. Like, that's crazy. So I don't want the people out there because there's a lot of people that are happy about this, but I don't know why they're happy about it, because it's nuts. How's the city planning to fund this moving on? The opioid money is being used for the fire department and the PD. Good question. Hoosiers need the ability to recall servants that do not listen to the community's voices. Yes. Yes, but it'll be worthwhile shit. Yep. Yes, it would be the YWCA as a referral source. Yeah, that's true. So the other rehab center will take those on alcohol, drugs. Hey, we don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm to the point, Tweety Bird, where until it's opened and I see it and they say it, I'm not going to believe it. I have no freaking clue. I told everybody that this was a ploy by Ridenhour for a freaking campaign, and that's all it's ever been. He does not give a shit about this place. He doesn't care what it's doing. They don't know what's going on. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. It's a city building, and we're paying the dime. It needs to be operating the way we say. And if Meridian can't do it, they need to find somebody that can. And if they can't, well, then we need to quit paying for it, because we're already at 2 million and counting. If the other one ever even opens. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right. Absolutely. Meridian isn't running a crisis center; it's running another regular. Yeah. Absolutely. And this lady says, "What's up, Muncie clickbait?" I said, "It is what it is. Watch or don't." Oh God, I hate people who can't read, man. I'm convinced we're all going. The world is going to hell, man. Well, the end is near. The end is near. The other one's almost finished, Tweety Bird, but who knows? The company that's going to run it is like filing bankruptcy. Nobody knows what's going on. Who the hell knows what's happening, man? I am convinced that it's idiots everywhere running us. Everything's running us. Idiots, man. Idiots. Yeah, that's what they were saying. That's what they were saying, Kate. Absolutely. So there's a lot to do with this. There's a lot to look at as far as where we are with this crisis center, and a lot to tell. A lot of empty, finished buildings. Yeah, Ridenhour's got a lot of those. Dump a little money here, help a little buddy out, sell the building, help another buddy out. Sounds like a good plan to me. Get myself reelected in the process. Sounds like something Ridenhour would pull. Tweety Bird. I hear you. Tweety Bird. Well, let me tell you. Start getting yourself warmed up for being pissed. Because I'm telling you right now, this crisis center right now in Muncie, in downtown Muncie, where the Workman's used to be, is not helping the people that we were told it would help. Period. When it fails, you think we can get it for $1? Yes! That would be great. That would be great. Maybe we can buy it for $1 and Dan can give us $1,000 for a studio. I would live in there. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Alva, that's true. Well, I got to talk about that coming up. I watched half that. I got to finish watching the other part of the meeting. Tomorrow we're going to have Catherine on. Wednesday I'll probably do the commissioners meeting. Do the commissioners meeting on Wednesday. Kid Rock, not that I saw. Not that I saw. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it, Martz. Keith Martz. I don't know if you're saying no or the number. Somehow you're a half hour behind. What the hell? Yeah, they're interested in our brownfields. Ha! Yeah, right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for tuning in. There is a lot going on, a lot of questions I need to get answers to, a lot of answers that I need to put questions to, and a lot of things in between. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Watch out for Megan. Stoner. What about Southway? I told you about let's see. Cloud's still up. What about Southway? I said Dan needs to come out and get his picture in front of it. We're going to demand the people got to stand up, and we got to demand he's got to fix it. We got to get him to fix it standing up right now. We're going to get him out there. We got to get him out there. I want to see him in front of it. We got to get him plowing the streets, paving the streets, fixing the roads. I about said, never mind. Yes, Bree, that's right. We will work on him. I will get him out there to explain what's going on or drive him crazy in the process. So some very big, important people are saying he better get Southway Plaza fixed. Straight up, quick like. Straight up, quick like now, he said, she said, they said. All right. Well, you guys have a great evening. God bless each and every one of you. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Tuesday. And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Like always, you guys take care. And good night.